Former President Donald J. Trump, known for his aggressive trade policies, sent shockwaves through the global automotive industry with threats of sweeping tariffs on Mexican and Canadian imports. Citing concerns over immigration and the flow of illegal drugs, Trump's proposed tariffs, reaching as high as 25%, sent businesses scrambling to assess the potential damage. The automotive industry, with its deeply integrated North American supply chains, found itself particularly vulnerable. The specter of these tariffs raised serious questions about the future of car manufacturing in North America. Would companies be forced to relocate production? Would these tariffs simply ignite a trade war, harming economies on all sides? The uncertainty alone was enough to rattle markets and leave industry leaders on edge. European automakers, heavily reliant on Mexican manufacturing facilities, watched these developments with particular anxiety. Companies like Volkswagen, Audi, and Stellantis, which had invested heavily in Mexican production, faced the prospect of seeing their carefully crafted business models upended. The stakes were high, and the outcome remained uncertain. For European car giants like Volkswagen and Audi, the North American market has always been a crucial battleground. These companies have invested heavily in their brand presence and market share across the continent, recognizing the immense potential for growth and profitability. Mexico had become a linchpin of their North American strategies. The country's strategic location, coupled with its trade agreements, made it an ideal hub for manufacturing and exporting vehicles to the United States and beyond. Attracted by lower labor costs and favorable trade agreements, these companies had poured billions into building state-of-the-art factories south of the U.S. border. These facilities were equipped with the latest technology and employed thousands of workers, creating a robust supply chain that was integral to their operations. These Mexican plants were churning out millions of vehicles each year, many destined for the lucrative U.S. market. The efficiency and cost-effectiveness of these operations allowed European automakers to offer competitive prices while maintaining healthy profit margins. However, Trump's tariff threats threw these well-laid plans into disarray. The announcement of potential tariffs on Mexican imports sent shockwaves through the industry, causing immediate concern among executives and stakeholders. Suddenly, the cost advantages of Mexican production were in jeopardy. The prospect of increased tariffs meant that the financial benefits of manufacturing in Mexico could be significantly reduced if not entirely negated. The prospect of a 25% tariff on vehicles imported from Mexico threatened to wipe out profit margins and make European brands less competitive in the U.S. market. This potential increase in costs would likely be passed on to consumers, making European cars more expensive and less attractive compared to their American and Asian counterparts. The vulnerability of these companies was stark. The financial implications of such tariffs could lead to significant losses, forcing companies to rethink their strategies and possibly scale back their operations in Mexico. For Audi, its popular Q5 SUV, a top seller in the US, relied heavily on Mexican production. The potential tariffs posed a direct threat to the profitability and availability of this key model in the American market. Volkswagen, meanwhile, manufactured its best-selling US model, the Tiguan SUV, entirely in Mexico. The company's reliance on Mexican production for this model meant that any disruption could have a profound impact on its US sales and market position. The potential for disruption was enormous. The uncertainty surrounding the tariffs created a challenging environment for planning and investment, with companies needing to consider alternative production locations and supply chain adjustments. The situation was a stark reminder of the interconnected nature of the global economy and the ripple effects that protectionist policies can have. The potential tariffs highlighted the delicate balance that companies must maintain in their international operations and the risks associated with geopolitical changes. For European automakers, the stakes were clear: adapt or face the consequences. The evolving trade landscape required agility and strategic foresight, with companies needing to navigate the complexities of international trade while safeguarding their market positions and profitability. The potential impact of Trump's tariffs extended far beyond the balance sheets of multinational corporations. These tariffs, aimed at curbing the trade deficit and protecting American jobs, had far-reaching implications that rippled through various sectors of the economy. The automotive industry, in particular, stood at the epicenter of this economic storm, with its intricate web of supply chains and cross-border manufacturing processes. Millions of jobs on both sides of the US-Mexico border were tied to the automotive industry. In the United States, states like Michigan and Ohio, known for their rich automotive heritage, faced uncertainty. Factories that once buzzed with activity now grappled with the looming threat of reduced production and potential layoffs. Meanwhile, in Mexico, the stakes were equally high. In Mexico, where assembly plants employed hundreds of thousands, the tariffs threatened to trigger economic hardship. These plants, often located in regions where alternative employment opportunities were scarce, became lifelines for local communities. The potential reduction in production not only jeopardized jobs, but also strained the local economies that depended on these wages. The Audi Q5 and Volkswagen Tiguan, both heavily reliant on Mexican production, illustrated the complexities of the situation. These vehicles, celebrated for their engineering and design, were emblematic of the global nature of modern manufacturing. Parts sourced from various countries converged in Mexican plants, where skilled workers assembled them into the final product. These models, assembled in Mexico with parts sourced from across North America, were shipped to dealerships across the U.S. The journey from factory to showroom was a testament to the interconnectedness of the North American automotive industry. Transport trucks laden with freshly assembled vehicles traversed borders, ensuring that dealerships had the latest models to offer eager consumers. Tariffs on these vehicles would not only impact the companies that made them, but also the dealerships that sold them and the consumers who bought them. Dealerships, often family-owned businesses, faced the prospect of reduced inventory and higher prices. Consumers, in turn, would feel the pinch as the cost of their favorite models increased, potentially putting new cars out of reach for many. The Trump administration argued that tariffs were necessary to protect American jobs and reduce the trade deficit. Officials emphasized the need to bring manufacturing back to American soil, portraying tariffs as a tool to level the playing field. The narrative of economic nationalism resonated with many, particularly in regions hit hard by deindustrialization. However, critics argued that such measures would ultimately harm the U.S. economy by raising prices for consumers and disrupting supply chains. Economists warned of the unintended consequences, highlighting the potential for retaliatory tariffs from trade partners. The intricate dance of global trade, they argued, required cooperation rather than confrontation. The debate highlighted the delicate balance between protecting domestic industries and fostering global trade. As policymakers grappled with these complex issues, the future of the automotive industry hung in the balance. The decisions made in boardrooms and government offices would reverberate through factories, showrooms, and households across North America. For the auto industry, the outcome of this debate had the potential to reshape the industry for years to come. The stakes were high, and the path forward was uncertain. As the world watched, the automotive sector braced for a future that could redefine the landscape of manufacturing, trade, and economic policy. To understand the potential impact of Trump's tariffs, one must first grasp the intricate web of the North American auto industry. This industry is not just a collection of factories and assembly lines, it is a complex ecosystem that has evolved over decades. Each component, each part and each process is meticulously planned and executed to ensure efficiency and cost-effectiveness. Over decades, carmakers had forged a deeply integrated system, with parts flowing freely across borders and vehicles assembled in a complex continental ballet. This system is a marvel of modern engineering and logistics where timing and precision are paramount. The seamless movement of parts across borders is not just a convenience, it is a necessity for maintaining the rhythm of production. Mexico, with its lower labor costs, had become a critical hub for this system, particularly for the production of SUVs and trucks. The country's role in the auto industry is not just about cheap labor, it is about the expertise and infrastructure that have been developed over the years. Mexican factories are equipped with state-of-the-art technology and staffed by skilled workers who are integral to the production process. Engines might be made in the US, transmissions in Canada, and other components sourced from various parts of the continent. This distribution of labor and resources allows each country to specialize in what it does best, creating a symbiotic relationship that benefits all parties involved. And the final assembly in Mexico. This final step is crucial, as it brings together all the components that have been meticulously crafted and transported across borders. The assembly process is a testament to the collaborative effort that defines the North American auto industry. This intricate dance of parts and labor had allowed carmakers to optimize production and keep costs down. The efficiency of this system is what makes it possible for consumers to enjoy high-quality vehicles at competitive prices. Disrupting this balance could have far-reaching consequences, not just for the auto industry, but for the economy as a whole. Trump's tariffs threaten to throw this finely tuned machine into chaos. The imposition of tariffs is not just a political maneuver, it is a direct threat to the stability of an industry that millions of people depend on for their livelihoods. The uncertainty created by these tariffs could lead to delays, increased costs, and a loss of competitiveness on the global stage. The imposition of levies on Mexican imports would disrupt supply chains, increase costs, and potentially force manufacturers to rethink their entire production strategies. This disruption could lead to a ripple effect, impacting not just car makers, but also suppliers, dealers, and consumers. The entire ecosystem of the auto industry is at risk of being upended. The situation highlighted the folly of viewing trade through a narrow, nationalistic lens. Trade is not a zero-sum game. It is a complex web of relationships and dependencies that require cooperation and mutual benefit. The tariffs serve as a stark reminder of how interconnected our economies have become and how fragile these connections can be. The North American auto industry, a testament to the benefits of cross-border cooperation, was now caught in the crossfire of a potential trade war. This industry, which has thrived on collaboration and integration, now faces an uncertain future. The decisions made in the political arena will have real-world consequences, affecting jobs, economies, and the very fabric of the industry itself.